welcome to Chaste, where we do modest clothing for men and women, young and old. And today we're going to be doing a gathered skirt with an elastic waistband. I'm going to be using 2 layers of material. I really like this material, but unfortunately it's very thin, so we're going to be using 2 layers. This is another cotton liner. Both of these are 100% cotton, so all you're going to need is those, your thread, your elastic for your waistband, scissors, and measuring tape. So let's get started. So what we're going to do now is cut our material. I got 2.5 yards of each, and we're just going to use the whole length. So we're going to cut down the side of our material, fold it in half, and we're just going to cut down the side that's folded so that we can have 2 panels, the front and the back. And we're doing this because we're going to end up putting pockets in the sides at some point. So now we have our front and back panel of our liner and our front and back panel of our skirt. So now we're going to cut the length of our skirt. I'm going to cut off about 7 inches from the bottom. And it's going to land, the end of the skirt is going to land somewhere between my knee and my ankle. So I'm just going to measure 7 inches. We're going to use this leftover material for our pockets. And now we're just going to cut the other side to match this side. We're also going to take 7 inches off the bottom. So the 2 bottom ends where you cut 1 panel of your liner and 1 panel of your skirt, you're going to place them together with the right sides facing inward towards each other, and you're going to just sew those together all the way down. You can use 1/2 inch of seam allowance, should be enough. So this is what the bottom of your skirt is going to look like. And you're going to be turning that inside out, and so this is going to end up being your front or back panel of your skirt. As you can see, the bottom is going to look like this. No hem or seam showing. So now we're just going to do the same thing on the other side, or with the other two panels. So now what we're going to do with our two panels, we're going to sew them together with the skirt material on the outside facing inward towards each other, and we're going to start from the bottom of the hem. We're just going to line up everything, make sure everything is in line, and we're going to start from the bottom just to make sure that everything is in place, because we can't undo the seam here. An inch in, need an inch of seam allowance, because you're gonna need to do your finishing afterwards and after putting in the pockets. So we're just gonna start sewing from there. So this is what the inside of your skirt is going to look like, and we're just going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, we got our two sides sewn together. So this is what you're going to end up with. Big old circle. Now we're going to work on the waistband and getting the elastic in, and then we'll move on to our pockets. Okay. So we're going to take our waistband elastic, and we're going to measure around our waist where it's comfortable to hold the skirt up, and where it's not too tight, because it needs to be able to go around your hips, but tight enough so that it's going to hold up your skirt and stay firm on your waist. And we're going to do 2 of those. And the reason we're doing 2 is because our waistband is going to be inside the waist of our skirt, just like that. So we're going to make it wide, but we're just using 2 elastics. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure how much space there is with both of these pieces of elastic, and we're going to measure that much on our waist of our skirt so that we'll know how much to hem down, so that we're able to put in both of the elastics. So it looks like our elastic is 3/4 of an inch, and both of them together would be 1.5 inches. And we're going to leave a little bit of space to put a line in between on the waistband as well. We'll see what that looks like when we get done. So right now, we're just going to hem the top of our skirt, and then we're going to fold it down to 1.5 inches and sew that down. We'll leave a little bit of extra space, just a tiny bit, so that we could fit the elastics inside. So before we do that, also, we just want to finish the edges of our skirt as well, down about 6 inches, so that all those pieces are neat inside. Well, 7 inches, 7 to 8 inches, so that we have enough space for our waistband. So I'm just gonna cut half of the skirt. Half or a little less than half is fine too. And we're just going to roll the other end inside and fold it over and stitch it down. So this looks something like that. So we're just finishing that just a tad bit, and then we're just going to do the other side. So we're just going to turn our skirt inside out. So because our material, they're kind of different from each other, they kind of slide around and everything, we're just going to sew the top edge down just to hold everything in place. Measuring from the line we just sewed for our waistband, and we're just measuring 1.5 inches, and we're leaving just a little bit of extra space so that our elastic can fit inside. So we'll do it about 1 3/4. 1 3/4 inches, and we'll just go right along that same line again all the way around our skirt. Okay, so we've gone all the way around our skirt, and we're going to go all the way around again halfway through our waistband. Okay, now we have everything in place. All we have to do is put in our elastics. What we also need to remember to do is to leave a space open. So when you go all the way around the skirt, leave an open space on both stitches so that we can put the elastic inside, and then afterwards we'll close those stitches. So right now I'm just going to take one piece of my elastic. I'm going to use a safety pin. I'm just going to grab the end of it, lock it, and then I'm going to feed it through the skirt, and it's going to pull our elastic all the way through. So we pulled our elastic all the way through, And we're just going to make sure it's all straight on the inside. And then we're going to sew these two together. I'm just going to pull all the gathers all the way around. Now we're going to put the other elastic in. And our waistband is in. That's what it's going to look like inside out. And now we need to put in our pockets and just finish do our finishing. And then your skirt is done. But before we do anything else, we're just going to sew down the seams where we had open to put our elastic inside. So we're just going to stretch out everything to make some room. Just spread the material to make some room so that we can sew that down easily. And we'll just put it under the machine and stretch it out. And sew it down. So that's one part. And we're just going to do the middle part. Done with our waistband. So now we're just going to cut out and put together our pockets and put them in our skirt. So this is not necessary, doubling the pockets. You could just use 2 flaps of the material for your cutout pockets. But I'm using 2 because I want to see the white material on the inside of my pocket rather than the off-white liner. So I just put my liner, either side of the liner on the outside, and both pieces of the other fabric on the inside of the pocket. And I'm just gonna sew those around here together, and this is the opening of the pocket, so we leave that open. If you're just doing one piece of material, you just take the 2 of them and sew those 2 together. and you'll get the same result. Now we're just going to use a zigzag stitch all the way around the edge just to finish it off so that everything stays intact, there's no frayed edges, and that your pocket doesn't open up later on. So far that's one pocket. And now we're just going to do the other one. So now we have our two pockets, and we're just going to open up our hem a little bit to insert our pockets. We're just going to go down about 6 inches from the waist. So we'll just start opening up our seam right here. And we want to open it up wide enough to fit our pocket inside. That should be wide enough. So we're going to turn our pocket inside out. Well, right side in, inside out, whichever. And we're going to put it inside the skirt. And we're going to sew the mouth of it onto the opening of our skirt on either side. So I just put the pockets in, well, one pocket, and we're going to do the same to the other side. And I just folded down the edges of the seam over the edges of the pocket. I cut the pocket down a little bit and I folded the edges over just to finish it off. And now I'm doing the same to the side seam. I'm just cutting half of the material and leaving the other half so that I can fold over it and sew it down. finished double layer gathered skirt with pockets. If you like this video, you could go ahead and like and subscribe to our channel if you want to see more. Links to other social media will be in the description box below. Thanks for watching.